My wife thought she won the lottery. It was a prank ticket. She screamed, "I'm rich. I'm finally leaving you and the kids." I replied, "Look at the ticket again." When she saw it was fake, she laughed. "I was just joking." I replied, "I wasn't." Then I handed her the divorce papers I kept in the safe. Her face turned ghost white. This happened on Saturday. I'm writing this on Monday because I needed time to process what went down. My wife of 12 years just revealed her true colors in the most spectacular way possible. Little background. Me, 38M, married to Kelly, 36F. 2 kids, Emma, 10F, and Tyler, 8M. Been together since college, thought we had a solid marriage until recently. I work as an operations manager at a logistics company. She works part-time at a dentist office. The past year, Kelly's been acting different. More complaints about money, more sighing when bills come in, more comments about how other people our age seem to have more than us. I make decent money, around 75K, and she brings in maybe 15K part-time, but we live comfortably in a nice suburb. Started noticing she was on her phone a lot, looking at social media. Instagram, Facebook, showing me posts about couples taking expensive vacations or buying new cars. Always followed by some comment about how lucky they must be or how some people get all the breaks. She began buying lottery tickets. Not just 1 or 2, but like 8 or 10 tickets every drawing. Powerball, Mega Millions, scratch-offs, you name it. When I asked about the spending, she said, "Someone has to win, might as well be us." That turned into a twice-weekly ritual of her checking tickets and getting mad when they didn't win. The fantasy talk started around 6 months ago. Kelly would go on these long rants about what she'd do if we hit the jackpot. Quit her job immediately, buy a mansion in Florida, move the kids to private schools. Normal lottery dreams, except hers always involved leaving our current life completely behind. What bothered me was how she talked about our kids during these fantasies. Emma and Tyler would get shipped off to boarding schools so Kelly could travel the world without responsibility. She'd joke about hiring nannies to raise them while she lived it up on beaches somewhere. I tried talking to her about appreciating what we had. Our kids were healthy, we had a nice home, stable jobs, good schools in the area. Why focus on some impossible lottery fantasy when we were already blessed with a good life? She'd agree and drop it for a while, then start up again the next week. A month ago, Kelly's sister Lisa visited from Arizona. Lisa married some tech guy who sold his startup for millions, and now they live in a massive house with a pool. Kelly was miserable the entire visit, constantly comparing our life to Lisa's and asking why we couldn't have nice things. After Lisa left, Kelly got worse about the lottery stuff. Started talking about how unfair life was and how some people just get handed everything. She'd look at our kids like they were anchors holding her back from the life she deserved. That's when I started getting really uncomfortable with her attitude. 2 weeks ago, our neighbor Bob, who's always joking around, gave me a prank lottery ticket. You know those fake ones that look real until you read the fine print. Said his brother-in-law owns a novelty shop and they get a kick out of pranking people with them. Bob showed me how it worked. Looks like a legitimate scratch-off ticket, but when you scratch it, reveals numbers that appear to be worth $50,000. The trick is in the small print at the bottom that says it's a novelty item and not an actual lottery ticket. Pretty convincing unless you read carefully. I stuck the ticket in my wallet and forgot about it. Figured maybe I'd use it to prank one of my coworkers or something harmless. Had no intention of using it on Kelly because I knew how obsessed she was with actually winning. Friday night, Kelly was particularly wound up about money. We just paid the mortgage and some bills, and she was complaining about having to budget for groceries. Started her usual routine about how other people our age were probably eating at fancy restaurants while we clipped coupons. She bought her regular stack of tickets for Saturday's drawings. Made her usual comments about this being the week we finally catch a break. How she'd quit her job on Monday if we won anything significant. I mostly tuned her out because I'd heard it all before. Saturday morning, Kelly was at the kitchen table with her coffee and tickets, going through her ritual of checking numbers and getting disappointed. The kids were watching cartoons in the living room, and I was making pancakes for breakfast. That's when I remembered the prank ticket in my wallet. I don't know what made me do it, but something about Kelly's attitude lately just rubbed me wrong. Her constant complaining about our life while our kids were 10 feet away, listening to every word. I pulled out the fake ticket and set it on the counter near her other tickets. Made it look like it had gotten mixed in with the real ones she'd bought. Then I went back to cooking breakfast and waited to see what happened. Kelly grabbed the fake ticket and started scratching. I watched her face change as she revealed the numbers. Her eyes got wide and she started checking and rechecking the amounts. Then she started shaking and making these little gasping sounds. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." I turned from the stove acting like I didn't know what was happening. "What's wrong, honey?" Kelly shot up from her chair holding the ticket above her head like a trophy. Her face was bright red, and she looked like she might hyperventilate. "I won. I actually won." The kids came running in from the living room, wanting to know what Mom was yelling about. Emma asked if everything was okay, and Tyler looked scared because Kelly was acting so crazy. She was jumping around the kitchen, waving the ticket and laughing. "How much did you win, Mom?" Emma asked. Kelly looked at her daughter with this expression I'll never forget. Pure annoyance, like Emma was bothering her during the most important moment of her life. $50,000, baby. Mommy's rich now. That's when Kelly said something that changed everything for me. Something that revealed exactly who she'd become and what she really thought about our family. She looked directly at our kids and screamed, "I'm rich! I'm finally leaving you and the kids." Emma and Tyler's faces went white. They just stood there staring at their mother, who was celebrating the idea of abandoning them. Tyler started crying, and Emma grabbed his hand, looking confused and scared. I couldn't believe what I'd just heard. My wife of 12 years had just told our children she was leaving them because she won money. Not taking them with her, not planning a better life for our family, but literally abandoning them to live her fantasy. Kelly was still jumping around oblivious to the damage she'd just done. "I'm going to quit my job, buy a condo in Miami, and live like a queen. No more bills, no more kids, no more boring husband. I'm free!" Our 10-year-old daughter was now crying too. Both kids were holding on to each other, watching their mother celebrate the idea of leaving them forever. Kelly didn't even notice their tears, because she was too busy planning her escape. That's when I decided to end this nightmare. "Kelly," I said calmly, "look at the ticket again." She stopped jumping and looked down at the scratch-off in her hands. I watched her face as she started reading the fine print at the bottom. The part that clearly stated it was a novelty item and not a real lottery ticket. Her expression went from ecstatic to confused to angry in about 10 seconds. She read it twice, then looked at me with pure rage. "This is fake. This is a joke ticket," I nodded. "I know." Kelly stared at the fake ticket, then at our crying children, then back at me. You could see the wheels turning as she realized what had just happened, how she'd revealed her true feelings in front of everyone who mattered. Then she started laughing. This forced fake laugh, like she could make the whole thing disappear with humor. "I was just joking. Of course I wouldn't really leave you guys. It was just the excitement talking." She reached toward Emma and Tyler, trying to hug them, but they backed away. Our kids had just heard their mother say she wanted to abandon them, and some nervous laughter wasn't going to fix that damage. "Mommy didn't mean it," Kelly said desperately. "I was just being silly because I thought we won money. You know, Mommy loves you more than anything." But the kids weren't buying it. Emma looked at Kelly with this mature expression that broke my heart. "You said you were leaving us, Mom. Why would you say that?" Kelly kept trying to explain it away, but I'd heard enough. Our children had just been traumatized by their mother's true feelings, and she was trying to gaslight them into thinking it was all a joke. I looked at Kelly, who was still holding the fake ticket, and said 5 words that ended our marriage. I wasn't joking either. Kelly stopped laughing and looked at me confused. "What do you mean?" I walked over to our safe in the hallway. Kelly called after me asking what I was doing, but I ignored her. Punched in the code and pulled out a manila envelope I'd been keeping there for 2 weeks. An envelope I'd hoped I'd never have to use but had prepared anyway because of Kelly's increasingly selfish behavior. I came back to the kitchen where Kelly was standing with our confused, crying children. handed her the envelope, and watched her face change as she realized what it contained. Divorce papers. I said simply, "Prepared and ready to file. My lawyer will serve you officially within 48 hours." Kelly's face turned ghost white as she opened the envelope. Her hands were shaking as she pulled out the legal documents with her name on them. The papers that would end our 12-year marriage and request primary custody of our kids. "You can't be serious," she whispered. "Dead serious. You just told our children you wanted to abandon them for money. Even fake money was enough to make you forget you're supposed to be their mother." Kelly looked around the kitchen like she was trapped. At the fake lottery ticket on the counter, at our crying kids, at the divorce papers in her hands. "This is insane. You can't divorce me over a joke." "It wasn't a joke, Kelly. You meant every word you said. The only thing fake was the lottery ticket. Your feelings about leaving us were completely real." She tried to argue that she'd been caught up in the moment and didn't mean it. That anyone would say crazy things if they thought they'd won $50,000. But I'd been watching her build up to this moment for months with her complaints and fantasies. "Pack a bag," I told her. "My lawyer will contact you about custody and asset division. The kids don't need to see you right now." Kelly started crying then. Real tears, not the fake celebration from earlier. She looked at Emma and Tyler, who were still holding hands, watching their parents' marriage end in the kitchen, where we'd eaten thousands of family meals. "Please don't do this," she begged. "I made a mistake. People say stupid things when they're excited. You can't break up our family over one moment of bad judgment." But it wasn't one moment. It was months of Kelly showing me that she resented our life together, that she saw our children as obstacles to her happiness instead of the best things that ever happened to us. I knelt down and hugged Emma and Tyler. Told them Mommy and Daddy were having grown-up problems that weren't their fault, that they would always be loved and taken care of, no matter what happened between their parents. Kelly packed a bag and left that afternoon. Drove to her sister's house 3 hours away to figure out what came next. She's been texting and calling constantly, but I'm not responding until my lawyer tells me how to handle communication. The kids are confused and hurt, but they're resilient. We've been talking about feelings and making sure they know this isn't their fault. I've got them set up with a counselor who specializes in helping children process family changes. My family and friends are supportive once they hear the full story. Kelly's own mother called to apologize for her daughter's behavior. Said she raised Kelly better than that and was disappointed in how she'd acted toward the grandchildren. The fake lottery ticket is still on my kitchen counter. A reminder of the day my wife showed me who she really was when she thought she had a way out. Some people reveal their true character when they think they're safe to drop their mask. Kelly wants to come home and pretend this never happened. Keep saying she was just caught up in the excitement and didn't mean anything she said. But you can't unsay words like that, especially not to your own children. I've been thinking about what would have happened if the ticket was real. If Kelly actually won $50,000, would she have followed through on abandoning us? Would our kids have woken up one day to find their mother gone because she finally got her escape money? The scary part is, I think she would have. Maybe not immediately, but eventually. The fantasy had become too real for her, and winning any amount of money would have felt like permission to chase her selfish dreams. Emma asked me yesterday if Mommy ever really loved us, or if she was just pretending the whole time. I told her that people can love you and still make bad choices. That sometimes adults get confused about what's important and hurt people they care about. Tyler wants to know if Kelly is coming back home. I explained that Mommy needs time to think about what she did and that we're going to be okay, just the three of us for now. He seems more relieved than sad, which tells you everything about the household tension lately. The divorce should be straightforward since we don't have complex assets, and Kelly's statement about abandoning the kids is well documented. My lawyer thinks I'll get primary custody easily, given her public declaration of wanting to leave them. Bob feels terrible about giving me the prank ticket. Says he never intended for it to cause family problems and wishes he'd kept his joke to himself. I told him it's not his fault that my wife turned out to be someone who would abandon her children for money. Kelly's job called asking where she was since she missed her Monday shift. I told them they should contact her directly about her status. Her supervisor seemed frustrated, which makes me think there had been attendance issues there too. I'm looking at this situation as a blessing in disguise. Better to find out now what kind of person Kelly really is than to discover it years later when our kids are older and more damaged by her resentment. They deserve a stable home with a parent who actually wants them around. The house feels calmer already. No more lottery ticket checking, no more complaints about money, no more fantasies about escaping our supposedly terrible life. Just me and my kids building something better together. People ask if I'm angry about Kelly's betrayal. Honestly, I'm more disappointed than angry. We built what I thought was a good life together, and she threw it away for a fantasy that didn't even exist. Our kids were never the problem. Her attitude was, I'll be fine raising Emma and Tyler on my own. They're amazing kids who deserve better than a mother who sees them as obstacles to her happiness. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your family is remove the person who doesn't want to be part of it. Kelly can have her freedom now. No husband to complain about, no kids to hold her back, no bills to stress about, since they'll be my responsibility. She got exactly what she said she wanted when she thought she won the lottery. The fake ticket taught me something important about marriage. You don't really know someone until you see how they react when they think they have a way out. Kelly's reaction showed me our marriage had been dead for months, and I was just too loyal to admit it. Tomorrow I'm taking the kids out for ice cream to celebrate our new beginning. Not because our family is broken, but because we're finally free to be happy without someone who never appreciated what we had.